I can imagine that this setting leaves you having a couple of questions. For one, River, why are you sitting like that? 2, why is it pitch black outside? 3, why are you outside? To that, I would say, shut up. Last night, I found myself browsing NASA's website, as one does, and I got really, unbelievably, unhealthily obsessed with animal space travel. Hi, Chris. Admittedly, this probably wasn't the best idea, as I had found myself sobbing within the next 10 minutes. It's the late 1950s, and the Cold War is in full swing, and the space race between the Soviet Union and the United States was just heating up. Both superpowers are desperate to make groundbreaking advancements in space exploration. The Soviet Union had already launched Sputnik 1, which is the first artificial satellite to orbit space. To orbit in space, to orbit Earth in space, and now they were determined to send a living being there. Enter Kuryavka. I don't know. This is how you say it.
Pudrevka.
Now regarded as Laika. Laika wasn't always destined to be a space hero. She was originally a stray on the streets of Moscow, a mix of terrier and possibly husky. Her name was changed after they had announced the launch of Sputnik 2. She had barked on the radio, and so she got the name Laika, which means barker in Russian. The Soviet scientists needed a small, calm dog for the mission, and Laika fit the bill. Interestingly, though, Laika was supposed to be the backup for another dog, Albina, who had already flown on 2 high-altitude missions. It's said that Laika was inevitably chosen because of better temperament. However, it is rumored that they ended up choosing Laika because they had grown more fond of Albina and didn't want to send her on what they knew was a one-way trip. How sad is that? Laika and her fellow canine comrades underwent rigorous training. They were placed in smaller and smaller cages for days on end to simulate the cramped conditions of the spacecraft. They endured conditioning to loud noises and rapid acceleration in a centrifuge to prepare them for the launch. They were even trained to eat a high-nutrition gel because apparently doggy kibble isn't space food. Terribly sorry for intruding. In this, I said scientist, and later on I will go on to say doctor. Neither of these things are true. He was a military officer. Just to set that straight. One scientist, who I'm not gonna butcher the name of because I won't even attempt to pronounce it,
Oleg Georgievich Gazenko,
took Laika home for a few days before the mission so that she could experience compassion and affection, just generally experience being a normal dog before the stressful journey ahead, and knowingly sending her to her death. On November 3rd, 1957, Laika was launched aboard Sputnik 2. The spacecraft was hastily constructed, and there were many uncertainties about its functionality. This was because Nikita Khrushchev had preferred that the launch date coincide with the anniversary of the Bolshevik Revolution.
Commemorating the 40th anniversary of the Russian Revolution, the Earth's second artificial satellite went into orbit.
And thus, Laika was fitted with sensors to monitor her vital signs and a harness with chains so that she could not move. She could, but all she could do was sit and stand and lay down. As the rocket ascended, her heart rate quadrupled, as did her breathing, but despite the stress, she had remained calm as a testament to her training. Laika would remain in orbit until she ran out of oxygen a few days later, which is when the team of scientists would euthanize her before she could actually run out of oxygen and die a horrible, painful death. Except this isn't actually what happened at all. This was simply the story that was falsified for over 40 years. In 1998, the same Dr. Gazenko? The same Dr.
Gazenko,
who had taken Laika home, revealed that she had died shortly after launch, with more details coming out only 4 years later. She only survived for a few hours due to overheating and stress. As stated earlier, the scientists had no plans for her return, and this was essentially a one-way trip. The public outcry was immense, and even those involved with the launch had expressed immense regret. Dr.
Gazenko
later said, "The more time passes, the more I'm sorry about it. We did not learn enough from this mission to justify the death of the dog." Beyond the scientific achievements, her story highlights the ethical concerns regarding the use of animals in scientific experiments. Laika was more than just a tool for space exploration and science experimentation. She was a living being with emotions and a capacity for suffering. By learning her story and stories like hers, we can foster greater compassion and empathy for all animals, recognizing their intrinsic value beyond their utility to us. In short, we should all strive to be like Dr.
Gazenko.
Thanks for watching, Chris. I hope that Laika's story touched you as it had touched me and countless others. If you enjoyed this video essay, might I recommend that you check out Chris's from a couple of days ago, where he bones your boneless chicken wings. Or rather, the state of Ohio does. I cannot begin to thank you enough for 1,000 subscribers in like 2 weeks. That is actually insane. Me and Chris are unbelievably thankful and appreciative. A lot of you had pointed out a lot of areas of improvement for us, so thank you for that. The constructive criticism is awesome. Love it. I don't necessarily like being told that I spelled oxygen wrong, but who am I to judge? See you next week.